like, it's too hot. It's like 20 degrees cooler down there. Ready to go?
Yep.
Okay, call this finance and legislation meeting to order.
Oh yeah.
I was in it all.
Mr. Bayes? Here. Mr. Ballack? Here. Okay, we have no legislation. I have a few talking points I would like to bring up and see if we can get some legislation going for next week. Bring it out in caucus, pass it in the meeting. Next week is obviously our last meeting before break, so if you got anything you need done, now's the time.
That's right.
First-
We want a break.
I don't think anybody's arguing that. First thing, Mike, our bailiff, who actually is our security here at the meetings, currently only gets paid for 1 hour when he comes down for the meeting. Sometimes they're 2. You know, I really feel like that's probably not enough, in my opinion. There should be a minimum. You know, he's driving down here, spending his time, sometimes 2, sometimes 2.5 hours, sometimes 1.5, but no matter what, I think we should put a minimum on it of 2 hours that he gets paid for every meeting that he comes down here for.
Now, on our regular council meetings, sometimes they take longer than 2 hours. Does he get paid extra for that?
I'm up for whatever you guys want to discuss. I don't know how we would do it as far as clocking in and clocking out, or I don't know how. I mean, we could put a sheet in here that he could sign in.
I don't even think he needs to clock in and out. We could go by just the times of the meeting.
I don't have an issue with that.
I think we should have a minimum of 2 hours, and anything beyond that would go by the time of how long the meeting is.
I'm fine with that. I mean, as
We
long
do that
as
with- Chrissy does that with, when our guys have to come from court.
Yeah, I think we
So
should
they
get
get
that.
6 to 8. We'll do 6 to 8.
we'll give him 2 hours, but if we run later than that, then
he gets paid.
he gets paid for extra, okay? But I just feel like it's unfair for
For
him to come down here for 1 hour.
15.25 rate.
Yes.
But I also want to ask the law director, this guy got attacked by pit bulls, and why did they need the pit bulls at the house?
I don't know all the ins and outs. I still haven't even seen the report yet, to be honest with
Why
you.
did they need the pit bulls at the house?
Bob was furious when we found out because it happened when he was delivering a subpoena.
Right.
The woman, I believe her name was Norma, had a warrant. She got arrested. The dogs, I know there's follow-up
They
after.
breed those dogs.
Yes, but this is the 3rd dog bite from this dog.
Yeah, right.
So
I know.
it was her son's dog. I'm not sure if it has been taken from the house yet, but I know the officers spoke with him after the
Kat,
fact.
is the house rented or is it?
It's rented
Yeah.
because
Well, then
there
he
to
should be
survey-
able to sue the landlord. He should be able to
He
sue
is.
their insurance. Okay. I mean,
Yeah.
he should get just
But-
compensation for
But
this.
those dogs should be gone.
Yes.
Sure.
Why did
Where's
it
this
sit?
at?
On
Walnut.
On Walnut.
Yep.
It's, you know where the alley is?
Yep.
I think it's that gray house on the corner.
Okay.
Which
Because I had a person I know that lived there, and she has a pit bull. She no longer lives there, but she was complaining about them because they left them loose all the time.
That's great.
Well, they have to have that insurance.
Well,
They're supposed to.
Yeah.
Who
They're
checks
supposed
up
to.
on it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, I guess this brings me to my next point, which is, so he's delivering subpoenas and evictions. He does not carry a weapon. He is not OPATA certified, correct? That poses some type of liability in my eyes. Don't you think we would be better off having a police officer or having somebody else do that rather than,
That's not our call.
I don't think that's your call to make.
could we ask whose call that is? I mean,
You could
just
ask.
as yeah, I mean, but Dom's a reasonable guy, just as a safety issue.
Absolutely.
You
But
have
he's not
some,
gonna do it anymore anyway, right?
No, I think
no, but
in the past they've had the bailiff. I know Sherry Noble delivered at one point. I don't know that.
I just feel like police officers or somebody from the sheriff's department or someone brings a stronger presence. They have a weapon on them to defend themselves if need be, especially in a situation like this. It's probably just smarter, and I know it's open carry now. However, if you're delivering a subpoena for the court on behalf of the court system or behalf of the city, it's probably a real liability to have them have a gun under open carry, not under an OPATA certification, correct? So all signs seem like they're pointing to the smartest way to do it is to have either a police officer or a sheriff's department or somebody that holds a little bit more authority do that.
I'm gonna tell you one comment I could probably guarantee that you're gonna get back from the court is that the court and the police department don't always work together well.
But
So-
we need to correct that problem.
Would we be able to, on our behalf of council, maybe just write a letter asking? We're not demanding anything,
Sure.
we're just asking, you know, we're all in
Letter of
agreeance on it.
recommendation, Sure.
Yeah, that possibly in the future, because Mike is actually our employee too.
Sure, right.
He's not just the courts, so we wanna look after our guy as well.
Yeah, so if he decides not to do that, is his job in jeopardy with the court system?
I don't know, can I suggest that we ask Bob to talk with him first
Sure.
before a letter from council, because I don't want him
Yeah.
feeling like any type of.
Well, and again,
I think that might be able to be solved with the.
Okay.
Is he a union employee?
He is not,
No.
He's not.
no.
Again, I know that it's not our call, I'm just saying whatever we could do to try to make the
Protect him.
situation better. I mean, our employee got attacked, doesn't have a weapon on him, and is going to places, telling people that they're going to have to leave their home, or they're going to have to show up in court under a subpoena. That's not always the easiest situation.
I
Agreed.
think the eviction, I don't know if he was serving an eviction or a
I think it was an
subpoena.
eviction.
It was an eviction,
I think
because
it was.
normally, even Joey goes to those and they bring officers with him, so I don't
Okay.
know. if this
Or
is-
even if Mike continues to do it, if he wants to, whatever, an officer accompanies him, just something that would give him a little bit more protection.
Yeah,
Everybody cool with that?
Yeah.
All we can do is ask,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, man.
Okay, so we got that out of the way. Next, a couple years ago on Brandon, we were having trouble with the hill and people parking on the street. Became a safety concern. No, we use no parking signs.
We're by Terry's.
Correct. One street over, we're having the same problem on West Harvey. I was contacted about. I drove up there and looked. I would agree it's a safety concern and an issue. Talked to Joey. Joey talked to Chief Roddy. Did a study, same study they did on Brandon, and it came back the same way. And his recommendation is that there's no parking on there. So if everybody's good with that, I'll get legislation prepared for next week. Bring it out in caucus, pass it in the meeting. Good.
Well, if it's both of those streets, what's gonna happen with like the other streets?
Well, there's
Probably
only.
gonna it's probably gonna happen on all of them.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, like,
Well,
should
I
we
mean,
just bite the bullet and look at all of them?
Well, at that point, those two are definite problems. Any ones where you have a hill, the sun's setting definitely in your eyes at that
Yeah,
point. I mean, it is an issue.
The other ones ain't that much of a grade.
Well, and the other thing is,
Well,
I
I-
knew it is, but you
Yeah.
can't put them in front of
So
the house, and I already asked about that.
and I don't think there's a lot of people though that park on the street there.
There's a,
On Geneva,
yeah, right in front of
Okay.
Bruce's old house, yeah, there's, my
But
girlfriend lives right next
West
door.
Harvey, when you drive up West Harvey, it's both sides
There's a
all the way up.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah,
stop
You
sign
know,
there, right?
There's a stop
Yeah.
sign, but that doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, like, if we
Stop
work
signs
for
don't
all of
make
them, then.
That's ridiculous, and that's a big hill there from
Yeah.
But you can see all the way up the hill.
true. This is a blind hill.
Yeah.
There is crest that you can have no idea what's coming.
Right.
And you have people parked on both sides, so one's
Right.
coming down, one's going up. You're basically head on that, you know.
Not good.
Well, we have a study that, I'm not making this up, we got a study that says.
Well, there was
Yeah.
once an idea of no parking in the streets at all in the entire city.
Yes. Well, I think at least we could start addressing some of the
So
safety
we have a
concerns.
problem with, on Fourth Street because there's no garages or
Yeah.
driveways there.
Mhm.
So, you
Yeah.
know, Fourth and those.
Parts of the older parts of the city,
Sure.
a lot of them don't have adequate
Right.
parking for anything, you know. So if we're good with West Harvey, then get legislation for that. Get legislation for Mike, his pay to get brought up. What else has anybody got?
Yeah, I don't know if this is the right time to bring this up, but I was contacted by Matt Bradley, and he's not, he would like to address council one more time. So I'm going to suggest to him to come to our next council meeting and
And speak under the open forum.
speak under the open forum as opposed to having him come into caucus. And,
This is the guy with the baseball?
yes,
Yes.
yeah.
he's not a resident, I'm not sure what that's gonna do.
Yeah.
We don't- well,
So
well-
do we have the baseball?
Here's what we'll
Say
have.
their piece too?
Cat, they could, because at this point, it's open.
Right.
We're not having them in caucus. This would just be him addressing council on the floor. Everybody gets 3 minutes. So anybody could come talk at that point. We're not inviting him to a caucus meeting. We already did that.
Right.
It would just be under the guidelines of our council meeting. 3 minutes.
Yes.
So they're not getting along as they should be?
They are.
They're getting along, according to Matt, they're getting along just fine. But it's just a matter of they want to play their games at Monthy, and
Oh,
And I don't know what happened as far as getting the fields ready over at the old Ray T. Davis. I don't know what it's called now.
It's the Struthers baseball.
Struthers, okay.
Yep.
You know, I don't know. I've heard conflicting things about whether they've made the offer to accommodate him over there, or they didn't make the offer to accommodate him. But I haven't heard anybody from anybody saying that they haven't offered that.
So there's a couple games up at Montez side too, correct?
Yes. Yep. It's
That's
used
probably
as an
the
emergency backup field.
That's probably the reason why he's probably gonna be.
No, they use the fields for practices as much as they can. The high school uses that field if it's open and available.
I understand that,
But as far as scheduling games, it's a completely different story. We have the hall rented out. We had somebody that wanted to use the field on a Friday night. We had to tell them no because we had the pavilion and the hall rented out.
Okay, so that was just
I'm
an
not getting the
emergency.
city into the mess of this. I've spoken to a lot of those parents, and they're not sure why the issue is still being pushed because that field is not the diameters, that's not the correct
Dimensions.
dimensions,
Yes.
thank
They're
you,
supposed to
Yeah.
have 200
that
meters.
he's complaining about.
Yeah.
So we're not gonna pay to fix
so why
the
does he
fields.
wanna play there then?
To
He should
renovate
find
it,
another
yeah.
coach.
We don't have to renovate that.
Yes, but they're getting along at the Struthers Baseball League, that's why I'm not sure why it keeps coming here, because the parents are not pressing the issue.
And actually, are we in the authority to tell the baseball league to change?
No.
No,
No.
it's private, baseball league's private.
Yeah.
And we've explained that to him, and I know Bob specifically, who his son is best friends with Matt, his stance is even stronger than mine about why we're saying no to this.
Yeah.
Because
So
while they are Struthers kids, we also have Struthers kids on Ursuline teams, on Moon
Sure.
so do we need to open up? And we're letting them practice, and
Just to the
that's,
Ursuline kids, not the Moon kids.
you know what I mean, you know the concept of what I'm saying. And we're
Yeah.
letting everybody practice there, it's all working out well.
Yeah.
I've spoke to the parents on his teams, and they're all good with how everything's going, because
Yeah.
everybody's getting along, so that's why this is.
yeah, he contacted me today, and so I said I would bring it up and you know, to see what everybody thought, and I think that's probably the best way
Yeah.
for him to approach it is to just, you know, open forum, and you know,
Yeah.
he'll have his 3 minutes, and
I would make
Be
sure he
prepared
has
for him
those
to
3
keep
minutes.
coming back.
Well, like I said, first of all, we can't just go and add on to the field and then add on to the bases like he wants. So what's the sense? Why is he bringing this pitch? You know, I mean,
But again, we're not inviting it into caucus.
Yeah.
We're asking that he come to an open forum to,
And we can answer that question then.
well, he has to address the chair, just like anybody else, you don't, you know what I mean?
I
So,
understand.
we're not, I guess, affording him anything, we are saying the chain of command is
We're
this.
not gonna be a mediator
No.
between him and the league.
No, we are not.
They're getting along.
Yeah.
Well, I understand that, but what
He
I'm
was
saying, we just
mediating
can't accommodate
that.
what he wants at that
Yeah,
field, is
you
what
were
I'm saying.
mediating there.
You
So
know what
are
I
they
mean?
playing
That's
at
all
the
I'm
fields?
saying.
Yeah, what I'm saying is,
Where are
his right to speak
They are.
They're
is
playing
same as
in the
anybody
spring
else's
league.
out there.
Right.
I got it.
They're in the
We're
spring
not.
league,
But we
they're
have to
playing
answer
there,
that
but
question.
they
Tell
have,
them no.
as long as
This is
nobody's
what we
using the
can't do.
field, they can practice
Yeah.
there as much as they
Oh,
want.
so
Just
practice,
schedule.
but they can't
But
have
they
their
want to
games
have their
there.
home games, right?
Yes.
Their home games at
Yes.
their lot.
Field, they gotta move
The
the fence
dimensions
back
for all
and everything.
three teams, they don't,
The
Meaning
bases are
that
longer, the
Davis
field's
need-
longer for what they want.
I'm confused.
Davis is
We can't
way
accommodate
deeper.
but I spoke to both the president, the treasurer, and I forget who else I spoke to, but they all confirmed that that offer was left on the table, and even for SBL to accrue the cost to change that for him. So I can get,
Oh, so they have to change a field even up there if he's
yes,
gonna
but they're
use.
willing to do that because they're trying to just all get along,
Work together, yeah.
yeah, and
I didn't realize that league was so different.
which
Like as
the
far
base
as,
is, and it's leading off and stealing. It's different for that age group,
okay. Oh, they would just change one field up there
yes.
and they don't wanna do
Yep.
that? I mean, they said they'll
No,
do that, I get that,
SBL, but he's saying that was never brought to him, and that's just not true. That's where the
yeah, there is a disconnect there, and I don't know where it is, and you know, so
Yeah.
I would say
it's a personal thing with me, I'll be completely honest. It's a personal thing that he feels like I am doing this for personal reasons, and I'm absolutely not.
Yeah.
I don't know how more clear I can be, but I know Bob is on the same page. We had a great meeting in my office, and everybody left very satisfied, and just one thing after the other, so.
Yeah, yeah, so I mean, I don't know, you know, he's claiming that they didn't make that offer to him, and, you know, so I don't know where the,
So you're
where
gonna
the
have somebody
disconnect
from
is.
the baseball league represent as well, or be
I'll see if
here?
they wanna be here or write a letter,
I'm sorry.
that's fine.
So, yeah, I don't,
There's two sides to every story.
But
absolutely,
again,
and
we
I
are
don't
paying
know.
to change that field
No.
because the high school girls use that field. It would-
Absolutely.
No, at Mocky Park?
No,
No,
Yeah,
that-
right.
no, I wouldn't.
That's been like that for years.
Well, they just kind of got the girls, right? Like, how many years have the girls been playing on that?
Since 03 or 04.
High
Yeah,
school girls?
It's
yeah,
almost 20
Time
years.
flies, Mark.
yeah.
Time flies.
Long.
03, 04.
Old.
Weren't you on that team, Lori, in 03?
It had to be 03, 03, 04.
That's right.
You started doing fast pitch. Fast pitch was always there.
Graduating in 02, what are you talking about?
I know. I remember you in school.
There you go.
Anybody else, anything else?
I just wanna, actually, I read your article about the brownfields, about what we're doing down there. I had no idea that we were gonna put our city hall down there.
it's
So,
planning part of it.
okay.
Yeah, we talked about it at some of the meetings that we had, and we're not,
About the
There
city
yet.
hall being down there? I
Uh-huh.
don't remember that.
yeah, mixed use
Okay.
facility,
Okay. And that's all gonna be done through grants?
yes, and we're pretty sure we just secured the minimum amount for the grant is 20,000, but it could be up to 50,000 for a planning grant for that
And
specific
the whole
purpose.
project is what, you said like 29 million?
It's gonna depend on how it's all laid out. So there's different things that we can do with City Hall, there's different things we can do with Community Sports Center, where we will have to scale back on one way or the other, but we're gonna have the school in on the process too.
Now, since the city hall will be involved as being a resident of that project, does the grant system, can we apply for different or better grants because of that?
Oh, yeah. One of the biggest things with this comprehensive plan is gonna allow us to apply for those bigger grants, that where
Okay.
if we didn't have a plan in place, we wouldn't be able to do that. And
Okay.
a lot of our feedback from older residents, from our younger residents, they're saying they want a community center, they
Right.
want somewhere to go, they want somewhere like Austin Town's building or like Camel has, and all of those have been created without costing the taxpayers anything. So it's a lot of matching the grants, and honestly, the last couple of years, it started off as just the sports community center. We've since added that because we're putting money into this
Yeah.
building and it's just not feasible. And there's more grant opportunities out there for mixed use facilities. So to add City Hall, add the track there, add all of that, there's more money out there. So this, we came up with talking with Tim Ryan, Shared Grounds office, Al Catrona's office, everybody that we've been meeting with, we've been bringing this project up to them so that so for the last couple of years, we've been trying to piece everything together so that we know where the money's coming from. So it's not just like we're walking into this blind and saying, hey, give us money.
Yeah.
We've already planted these seeds in the last couple of years.
Now, does the Scenes have any involvement as far as helping get grants as well?
So when we went over all the contract language for the property transfer, John did all of that. The one thing that they stipulated was that they wanted whatever facility was built to be named after the Scene Tobacco family, which
Absolutely.
is absolutely fine with us.
Can I make one recommendation?
Okay.
Whenever you put a committee together or something for that, representative from council on it,
Oh, absolutely.
just so that we can have somebody from here, whether it's zoning and annexation or community development, somebody from council stays abreast of the situation.
Yep,
And
absolutely.
what would we do with this building? Make it the police station?
We don't know yet. That's gonna be all part of the planning process.
And would the
of it.
court go with you, I guess would be my next question.
Again, part of the
Okay.
planning. It's gonna depend on what comes out of that and how much we can.
Because in the past, there was rumors of maybe having a court somewhere else, just the court.
Yeah.
And that, you
The
know,
problem with that is keeping the court or the police station here is, it's the building that's the problem.
Yeah.
Right.
So whether it's court, whether it's police, it's
but
just
then
not
again,
feasible.
if the government decided to keep the court here but refab the building, that, you know, that's a possibility as well.
And everybody's kind of outgrowing the spaces here.
How about one thing?
I just wanna get some clarity on that, because I forgot all about City Hall being down there as well.
The city hall addition to the
It's
plan
kinda
is
new,
kinda
right?
new,
Yeah,
yes,
right.
that's not anything that's been, it was more or less the community sports complex, but after talking with a lot of these legislators, they said you have to have, it has to be mixed use in order for them to appropriate funds
Okay.
or do that, so that's kind of,
So that kind
Where
of
it's
put a
coming
little
from.
plus in
Yes.
our bucket, okay.
yeah,
Great.
and the end of the segment where I wanted an office on the water and the river and that was the.
Yeah, you're being kind of selfish there, but
That's,
that's.
well, I was like, oh
I'm
gosh.
just kidding.
That was.
That's all right. Listen, as long as our council room faces it too, we're happy with that,
It was
right?
more of me like not, like I could watch my kids practice, but I could still be doing work. So it was more of like a joke thing, but
Was that property assessed down there? Do you know if that's shovel ready?
I believe parts of it are, but it has been cleaned up. So we have to go through what phase, because there's two phases for the
Yeah,
entire.
I
Yeah.
thought the whole reason that we got it back from SEMA was to get
To
it
clean it.
shovel ready.
Well, see, I thought
So-
that it was shovel ready when we
So
got
did
it
I.
back.
So
I thought
before
that they
we
had
gave
already
it-
been restored.
Yes, before we gave it back to them.
Because we got
the law-
grants to do that.
Correct.
Yes.
We need to get a
But
letter.
from what I understand though is you really can't dig deep in that property still.
Well,
Yeah.
what
I know
mean-
you can, from what I understand, you can.
I-
it's
I've
not-
talked to a few guys that work down there in the mill,
In
in
the
the
mill,
coke,
yeah.
and he says, yeah, you can maybe go 3 feet, but that's probably about it. Deep.
Yeah, I would assume an engineers who, and
Yeah, right.
you're gonna have to get core samples, we know that from dealing
Yeah,
with the fire
sure.
station.
Yep.
So there's gonna be a lot of things that are kind of,
Yeah.
we'll see when they get to that point, I guess.
But I'm thinking most of the buildings are gonna probably be basementless, I would think.
You would
Yes,
think
and
so
that's the good
too.
thing
That's
with
probably
this
the easiest way.
Sports community center and the track, you don't need a
Right.
basement and a lot of those, and then
Yeah.
this too.
Sure.
But it's gonna be a long process, so it's not
Sure,
something that
yeah.
we're just.
Yeah.
let's
But you
put
know,
it
we're
up,
gonna
but
get
we've
questions
been-
on, you know,
Oh,
you
yeah.
raise taxes. I know you
No.
said no taxes
No.
and it's gonna be all grant money, but,
Yep.
you know, people are leery about that.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's understandable, but I can tell you, this isn't a project that we're gonna give up on or put by the
Sure.
wayside, and I can tell
Mm-hmm.
you, Kristen Fox and Camel City Schools, they were able to build that entire building without charging the taxpayers $1, and that was recently. And that was pre-COVID. Now that COVID has hit, there's so many more grants out there for things like this specifically, especially for brownfield locations.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, that's Southwoods up there too.
So
We've
basically,
talked to Moran's.
that will become our downtown.
Well, that's, if, honestly though,
I mean,
the whole.
the far, more away from the railroad tracks, the better.
Yes, but one of the main goals of everything is to uncover that river,
Sure.
is to make that's something
whole
Poland,
reason we got the
Canfield, all
dam
these
down.
cities do not have. We have to uncover it and put a lot of our focus on
I
it.
agree.
Kat, have you got to, will street department move with you, or they will stay where they're at because of?
No, I'm sure they'll stay.
Now,
I mean, that's
Yeah.
but that's
since
where we
we
gotta figure out
removed the
what.
dams, I don't know, this could be into the future, but to supply electricity to the buildings and stuff down there, could we put water turbines in there since the water is moving so much faster now?
We actually had somebody, Mr. Eiselstein, came in with a
Oh,
few other.
gosh.
What's his name?
Ron?
Ron?
Yeah, don't even
Oh,
deal with
my
that guy.
goodness.
Don't even deal with him.
No.
I can speak with you after the
Don't
meeting.
deal with him, I'm
Um,
telling you.
I, but
I'll
there's
say it
different
out in
options
public,
out
don't
there.
deal with the guy. I don't
I
care.
will too.
Yeah, charlatan.
Oh my God. He's in it for himself, that's it.
I have plenty of experience from when I was in the prosecutor's office.
Don't even talk to him.
But there are a lot of different options, especially utilizing the river for the electric. There's different solar options out there now. There's a lot of things that we're gonna be looking at. Again, this is just we've been working on it for, how long have we been working on that contract, John? A long,
A long
it's been a
time.
long time.
Never thought I was gonna go down.
And this will be one of the biggest projects that we do, but it's very, very doable. All the other communities around are doing it.
We just gotta get a letter from Scene and the backhoe saying that that property has been assessed.
I think we
And
have
it's-
all that, I think we
okay.
have the information from them,
Yeah,
but in all actually, they don't have to give anything to us. We can get all the, whatever studies, we did that, the city of Struthers did all the cleanup. So we would have the information somewhere, so
Yeah,
that
we
I
got the
don't even
grants
know
to
that they
do
would,
that.
yeah, I don't
Yeah.
even know that they would have that information, but
I think it was special brownfield grants that we got,
Yeah.
when Mr. Stocker was in here and they gave us that.
Yep.
The kayak ramp, how we stand there?
I don't know where to start on this.
But you have proof that he said it was supposed to be paid,
I-
correct?
4 or 5 different ways, through email, through text message. I did contact Gene Mosier today.
So what's our,
So
where do we
they're going
stand?
to look into it. I had a union contractor who does concrete come down today and measure everything out so he can give us a cost estimate on that.
What's the issue?
It was supposed to be concrete. It was supposed to be ADA compliant, and I had been in contact to find out when it was gonna be done, because we have to do this ribbon cutting to hold up like the stipulations of the grant. We have to open it by a certain date. That's gonna be on Friday. So I called about a month ago to find out when the concrete was going in, and I was told that it was completed. And the whole reason we did the ramp to be ADA compliant, now the slope is ADA compliant. You can't tell me that you can get a wheelchair down there. You
No.
can't,
Oh,
you
no
can't
way.
you can't get a wheelchair
No way.
down
No,
there.
you can't.
I
So
haven't seen it, so.
Even
I'm-
if, how about blacktop, even if we blacktop?
It'd be really slippery.
the blacktop, from what I was told, would not work. The only thing that would work there is concrete.
Well,
So
and
I have-
even so, the concrete, when they do it, they
Yeah,
use what's called
groove
a
it.
tine rake, they groove it, yeah,
Yeah.
same way they would do, like across the bridge,
Mhm.
where it's concrete portions. Yeah, it has to be a
Are
no
we
dog tine rake.
putting, you said you wanted to put posts up there so they couldn't back trucks down there?
They should have actually put a rock up there today. They were gonna put one of the big boulders so that the the 4x4 can get through if they need to, but that no vehicle could get through there. Yep. So while we are doing the ribbon cutting on Friday, it is not complete.
Okay.
What's gonna happen with the grant?
The grant is satisfied
Oh, okay.
What did MS,
for.
what did MS Consultants reply to what you were
I'm sorry.
requesting? I'm
Was-
sorry? What, isn't that on them then?
We're gonna, like I said, I contacted them today to find out what our next steps are.
Yeah.
Yeah, cause there's
Is it-
absolutely no concrete down there.
No, no.
So for them to say
Well, they did say
concrete-
there's concrete mattresses underneath portions of it, but again, that's, if I was told we're not gonna put concrete, then I would say, okay, scrap that design, let's figure something else out, because the main thing was the concrete.
Yeah.
You look at Lowville's, how beautiful theirs looks, you look at ours, and it looks like it's halfway done.
Yes,
Right.
So,
let alone the wood railings, which was supposed to be metal. Correct?
they were supposed to be
Is this all
steel.
down on paper?
Yes.
When we
We
did
have the
the,
specs, we have
then,
the.
then we have to sue them, correct?
We're gonna see what they come back, if they can correct the problem and help us out, if not, that
Yeah,
may be.
then I would just sue them.
Absolutely.
Cause, you
Right.
know, it's, they, you know my feelings about it.
We're gonna give them an opportunity to fix it, but I have emails, text messages where at no point was I not under the impression that we were getting concrete and steel railing.
I think we should hold them to it.
Yep.
Oh, we
Without
definitely
question.
are, we are,
Yeah, I would agree.
but the time constraint, we have to do the ribbon cutting because
Right,
of the
right,
grant.
that's understandable, but.
We
So we're gonna
You
make
gotta
it
go
look as
Friday,
nice as
right?
we
I
can for
think-
now.
This Friday?
Friday, the
But-
dam, or not the dam, the ribbon cutting is at 4 for the kayak launch and 6 for the land.
But I think if the news is there and they interview you on this ribbon cutting, you should mention that it's not finished. And
Absolutely.
tell them that they did not do what we were supposed to do. I mean, you gotta make them look bad in order for, cause they're gonna
Yeah.
wash it under the sink and say,
Yep.
that's it.
Yeah.
I would like to retain a relationship that we have with them. I wanna give them the opportunity to fix it,
But
and
they're
if they
taking
don't.
advantage of us.
Yes.
they're making tons of money off of us, and that we're not getting what they promised.
But, and I'm not trying to defend them, but I did just contact Gene Oger this morning. So, we'll see what happens tonight.
We'll see what happens, yeah.
And we hired him for our engineering.
No, we didn't, not this year.
Not this year.
Not this year, we
No,
didn't.
we've been testing out all kind of different companies to see who we feel like fits the best. So we've been having a lot of different people do different projects. I got legislation and, not legislation, I got language from the county engineers because they, a few years ago, went out for requests for proposals from companies to get as many people to the table as we can and then select out of those for a city engineer. So we, like we said before, this year we're gonna not have a dedicated city engineer, but we're hoping next year, because I would like to put that out after recess, the first meeting is to go out for, so that way January 1 we're ready to go. And we kind of have an idea of who we are very comfortable with and comfortable with their work and the response and their cost. But still, we
Yeah, we also need, as a council needs to know their parameters
yeah,
involved.
absolutely.
Because year in and year out, we've rushed them as consultants as far as hiring them every year. I had a kind of a problem with that myself, and this is the reason why.
Well, now at this point, we're not doing that anymore.
Right.
And we're trying different people and we'll find who's a good fit, you know what I mean? And if we don't find somebody, then we'll continue to try until
I agree.
you get what you need, you know? Yeah.
But we have been working with a lot of different companies, I can tell you, DLZ, GPD, Environmental Design Group. We've been kind of spreading things around to see who's calling us back, who's giving us the information we need, who's like giving us a quality product for a good price,
Yeah.
basically. But we want to make sure
If
it's
good
somebody who's going to be
references.
dedicated to our city and understand what we want the outcome to be and where we're trying to move.
Sure.
We like the communication, is what we're gonna probably be stressing.
I do have a question too. We had talked to that girl, Lisa, on the north side about those signs. I can't remember, was she supposed to get a hold of somebody
I
here?
think they put the order in.
Oh, really, already?
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't know if she, if,
I will check,
okay,
but I'm pretty sure after the meeting, Bob contacted Tom the next day.
okay. And then, cause I know Michelle sent me some information on, she said there were like some trash containers that had stuff like this also. So she thought maybe that might be something in the future, not like, but maybe up there on the north side that, on those bigger cans somewhere they can have something like that. But I just didn't know where we stood on that. I haven't heard from her or. Okay, sounds good.
In case if you want to bring that up tomorrow, I don't know if they can answer by Friday.
Okay. Megan, can you read that?
Yeah, I could read. I got an email from, her name is Izzy Keller, and she's a producer with India Stream Public Media in Cleveland, and she's working on a story of whether NEO communities are adopting the new state law that allows individuals to set off fireworks during specific holidays. And if Struthers City's Council is deciding whether or not they're gonna adopt this law.
Which law is this?
It's, I guess it must be a new
Oh, yeah.
fireworks law.
I think Chief was looking into something, so we can
We had brought,
set the
I,
table.
well, somebody,
Brought
I
that
think
up
I
a
brought
lot.
it up
Yeah,
a while ago, but I forget whether it was you're following state law unless you opt out, or if you have to opt in as a municipality, if you have to opt into the state law. I
Do you
don't
know
remember.
if the chief had a preference for or against?
I believe it was 4. I think he wanted to stay with the state guidelines. We didn't have to
Specific days.
specific days,
Yeah.
specific times.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, everybody does it.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Sure.
I mean, I can sit in my backyard and see 5 or 6 houses around my community blowing.
I
I'm
don't wanna
not
take the
gonna lie,
right away
over
from, I mean,
COVID,
I know
that
that
was
it's
the
not
best
supposed
fireworks
to,
show I've
but
ever
it doesn't
seen.
bother me one bit, right?
Yeah, I don't want to
Yeah.
take
I
it.
mean, really.
Come on, it's part of America,
Absolutely.
you know?
Amen.
Anybody else, anything else for finance and legislation? Motion to adjourn,
Motion to adjourn.
second. Meeting adjourned.